We're not sure about all this. Where can we go? Why are we up here? There we go. Yeah, there's my little Betsy Ross. Just in case you guys have forgotten, Betsy Ross has been busy growing. She's now 6 months old. Thought she would join us this morning to welcome you to Dawn at the Lake, Lakeside Quiltmaking Arts. We're going to talk about money. So Betsy had to come and say hi to you guys because it's been a little bit. But she is a full 6 months old and a little bit of change now. She's born July 3rd. That's why she has the name Betsy Ross. And that's also why I ended up getting her, because she had the name Betsy Ross. And it's like, my studio needs a Betsy Ross. She's been an absolute joy. Friends, thanks for joining me again for another episode. And what is Dawn at the Lake up to? Maybe this wasn't the last video, but it was a video a time or two ago. I drew this out because I had been really frazzled and harried working on learning the long arm and making sure I did not mess up one of the quilts that I was working on. It's my second one, and it was, kind of big, and there was all kinds of technical problems in it. And I was trying to make sure I learned how to do those things without damaging the quilt or the quilting and then having to redo anything. So in all that, I learned a lot. So this video that you're about to watch, I had a completely separate intro and close to. And then I had this epiphany that I needed to kind of change, put a little twist on it. Because I really thought it was going to be a good representation of what a typical quilt session would be like. I got it loaded last night. Loading it, ironing it and loading it was done in probably 30-45 minutes because I ironed everything. But it went together pretty quickly on the frame. So let's just be kind of generous and say a full hour. I'm just going to give you a little heads up to where this next video clip is going. I quilted it in 2 hours. So I wanted to do some math on this. As soon as you get done watching this video, come back here and we're going to erase Dawn at the Lake. The frazzled, rattled Dawn at the Lake is over with, and she's feeling more confident now, and we're going to do some math. Hey friends, I decided to break the video up into 2 separate videos. So look at this thumbnail, and this is the one that you'll go to find to watch the video that we're going to be talking about in this video. So we're going to talk about something totally taboo to talk about, and that's money. I thought that since I'm in the middle of resurrecting my life, instead of getting prepared for retirement, I am figuring out how to make a living during retirement years, because this girl will not be retiring. Not until I'm in a grave somewhere. I spent more than a decade incapacitated. I had chronic illness and debilitating health and mobility and neurological problems just kind of destroy about 13 years of my life. That's a false statement. Didn't destroy those years. Those years existed and life was lived in those years. However, I did not make enough money that I could sustain myself at the expense level that I had going on. So I had to pull on my savings. And then I ended up running out of all of my savings, and I could not do anything else about it because I got more and more debilitated. Got really pretty debilitated. There was a lot of suffering involved. And then I had a lot of surgeries, and I got a lot better. And I'm having this wonderful opportunity to resurrect my life. I'm only doing that because of you guys watching this channel and customers sending in their quilts. I don't have any commissions yet. I've got people who've sent me their quilts. I'm doing them for free so you guys can see that I can do it and do a good job. And then I hopefully will be getting some customer quilts. And that's my business plan for my future. I am not going to be in retirement. I'm going to be working through retirement. And I'm not sad about it. I like being productive. I like being engaged. And, one of the businesses that I had during those difficult years was being a personal historian. It was something that was kind of a calm job. But it got to be too much for me. But during that time that I was doing it, I heard from a lot of very successful business people, and they all said the success for them being in their 80s, talking to me about their life their history of success, 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 like on a big level. These were high functioning people. They had had a wonderful time living their lives, and they were doing brilliantly in their 80s. You know why? Because they were staying engaged. That's what they all said stay engaged. So I'm being forced into staying engaged, and that's okay. I have to do it in a manner that has to be at home, that is fluctuating with my ups and downs from day to day, because I am tremendously better, but I still have a chronic illness. I still have chronic fatigue. I still have a lot of aches and pains and inflammation and injuries and stuff to deal with. But after a total of 16 surgeries, 6 of which have been in the last 6 years or 5 years, and 6 of those 6 being big neurosurgeries, 4 of those being really big neurosurgeries, I'm what you see in front of you, tremendously better. So I'm blessed to have this opportunity. So you won't hear me crying about it in my milk. This is a beautiful opportunity. But I'm at the beginning point of figuring out what is it going to be? What is it going to mean to me potentially? What is the potential revenue on this business model? And we just did a little quilt. You're about to watch the video for this little quilt that I just finished. And so in my head, I'm thinking this was a good example of one that just went smoothly. Let's just do the math real quick about what this one looks like. You go watch that video, come back here, and I'm going to erase the harried, rattled, frazzled Dawn at the Lake that I drew up in that last video where we talked about the one quilt that I learned so much on. I'm going to erase that, and we're going to do some math. Okay, let's get this girl off here. I do like her, though. She seems a lot sassier than what she looks, frazzled, and that was okay, too. Let's get this off here. So this one little quilt, I think I may have told you already, I spent, let's say, call it an hour of prep work of getting it ready to quilt. And that included, the ironing of it, loading it, getting the thread on it, that kind of thing, and getting the bobbin ready and all that so where you could press run. Okay, there's still some stuff on there, but I think you can see through it. It's okay. Let's do some math. This quilt was, where's my numbers? It was 44.5 by 38.5. Okay. Square inches at 1713.25. You take that and you multiply that times 2.5 cents, 0.025, and you get, where's my numbers? $42.83. $42.83 is what that little quilt would have meant to me. That's what I would have been paid. Okay? I think I could do 2 because that was only 3 hours of time. Let's figure out what I got paid per hour. Let's divide it by 4. Even though there is 1 hour for prep, 2 hours for quilting, and then 1 hour, you could say, for getting the quilt and giving it back. All right, so that's 4 hours. So we do the math on that, and that's $10.71 an hour. Clearly, it's not going to put a bunch of zeros in my savings account, right? But it's $10.71 that I made on a job that was at home, that was flexible. Of course, I've made nothing because this is just a test homework quilt. All right, but let's look at this. I think I could do 2 of these in one day. And what my plan was to do 5 days a week, doing 2 a day. So if that were to work out, let's say we do two quilts per day, then we're looking at $85.66 per day, and then times 5 days. Okay, then that is $428.30, and that is for 1 week. Then you want to take that and say, what is that per month? So you multiply it by 4.3 weeks, because there's 4 weeks and a third of a week in a month. And we get a whopping total, if all I did were quilts that were little bitty like that one, a whopping total of 18,000, no, I'm sorry, 1,800, 400, I can't say it, of $1,841.69 per month, times 12 months. You get the picture. You just keep on doing the math. As easy as that was, I'll take that money all day long. But this was a little bitty quilt. It was just a 44 by 38. Hopefully, I'll be doing some that are larger than that. 44 by 38 is a pretty small quilt. I'll take this one off that we just finished and show you what that looks like. So if you think about it, the next quilt that's bigger, the prep isn't going to be much worse. The getting and giving it is not going to be really any more than what the small quilts are. So if it has more square inches to it, it may take a little bit more time here, but it's still a pretty efficient way to scale up your business. I'm pleased with that. So I don't think that I need to think that this is my potential. I think this is like a minimal potential if you're doing 10 a week every week. $1,841.69. That'll pay a bill or two, keep some groceries in the house. I'm going to take my little snips, just lean over right here and take out my basting line. I think it's fair probably to say it was an extra hour to be added on to the amount of time that the quilt takes, because I had to get it from Sherry. In the case of this particular quilt, I had to drive to her. I'm not counting that as part of my time. But you know, when you talk to somebody, whether they bring it to you or they're going to mail it to you, there's just time involved in that. Same thing if I were going to be giving this back to somebody in person, or if I'm going to put it in a box and mail it, that's more time. Boxing it up, taking it to the post office, or having UPS or somebody pick it up from me, and engaging with that person through email or phone call or whatever, so that they know that they can expect it. This basting thread is coming right out, no problem whatsoever, leaving no marks behind. It's great. I'm pleased with that. I need to make sure that in the future I don't have my basting line into the quilting field, that it is inside the seam allowance. I saw that I was doing it and I could have stopped, but I just went ahead and did it because I knew that it was going to be easy to pick out, and it's a bright color pink against this saturated teal. I didn't need to worry about it because I knew it would just take a minute or two. But those little projects like that, they add up and they take away from your efficiency for the day. They take away from the amount of money you're making per quilt, right? That you're making per day. So today was one of those days where I had chores done, because I did them all yesterday. So I was able to just come up here and be upstairs. And I could definitely get another quilt loaded today and probably quilted today, especially if it was another small one like this. So I feel comfortable about, saying that I could do 2 in a day. I want to do 2 in a day and they'd be a little bit bigger, so you get paid a little bit more. Your efficiency for your time generates a little bit more revenue. This one is particularly small, I think, but it's a baby quilt. I think it's a decent sized baby quilt. These are really good little snips. These are the Mary Kay, is it Mary Kay? Karen Kay. Not Mary Kay's makeup from Do they still make Mary Kay? I know it was what my mother used whenever I was young. I think they still make it. I don't know anybody who uses it, but I think they still make it. Anyway, these are great. Karen K. Buckley scissors. They turn up at the edge. You can see that. And then they're very sharp at the point, so they're nice to use on the quilts because you're less likely to cut into the fabric as you're going down to cut a thread. Got one little place where the basting line got included in the quilting here, so I'm having to go a little slower. But most of it I'm just pulling out with my fingernail. It just slides right out. No tug on the fabric at all. So what I'm going to do, I'm not going to make another quilt. I'm not going to get started on it today. I'm excited to get started on the ones that I've got from you viewers. Sherry, a different Sherry than my mentor. This is Sherry, who is a viewer and a friend, and then Vicki, who is a friend and viewer, and then Jody's, who is a friend and a viewer. And all of them I did not know prior to starting this YouTube channel. I have met them because of this YouTube channel, and it has just been a delight to get to know people. I sat in on a, I forget what she calls it, but it's like a meetup that Vicki does for Our Time to Quilt. And it was enjoyable. I got to meet up with some ladies, other quilters. That was really great. Like, I wish I could do more of those. You know, over time, there's a time and a place for everything. And right now, I'm in rev up a new business mode. All the pink is out. I love it. I think the dump truck, no, I'm sorry, cement truck was perfect for this quilt. I wish I could see it bound and everything, but it's great fun to just see it to this point.